Hello, so this is A-level physics. Today we are going to start with AS level dynamics. So we will be starting with our first section, which is Newton's law of motion, in which we will be discussing about the Newton's three laws of motions. So the first law of motion says that the object will continue its state of rest or motion in a straight line unless acted upon by an external force. The second law says that if there is a resultant force, the object will accelerate in the direction of force. There is a note that the resultant force and the acceleration are always in the same direction. Newton's third law says that if object A applies force on object B, then object B will also apply force on A that is equal in magnitude but opposite in direction. So mathematically, Newton's third law is Fa equals negative f of b. The forces are equal in magnitude but are in opposite direction. Some of the characteristics of Newton's third law are that the forces act on different objects, they are equal in magnitude, they are opposite in direction, and the forces are of same type. So what are some of the types of forces? There are weight, normal force, friction force, tension, which is in ropes, electric force, magnetic force. So some of the examples of third law are walking. When you are walking, the foot presses against the ground exerts equal and opposite force. Space rocket is also an example of third law. The rocket exerts a force on the gases exert equal and opposite force on the rocket. And one of the misconception about Newton's third law is regarding a book placed on a table. The normal force and the weight are not the action-reaction pair for Newton's third law. That's not an example of Newton's third law. In fact, the weight is a gravitational force. So the reaction force would be from the earth. The book pulling the earth. Although the weight of the mass of the book is such negligible that it is not. It cannot be seen, but the actual action-reaction pair is of the weight of the book and the pull of the book by the earth. So that is not an example of Newton's third law. So what is mass? Mass is property of a body that resists change in motion. Mass is also a measure of the inertia of a body. Now what is inertia? Inertia is property of a mass that resists change in state. So that ends our section 4.1 of our course outline. Now section 4.2 is non-uniform motion. Starting non-uniform motion, our first definition is of weight. Weight of an object refers to the effect of gravitational field on mass, or weight can also be defined as the gravitational force acting on the mass is weight. The formula that defines weight is derived from F is equals to ma. That is, weight is mass multiplied by acceleration of free fall, which can also be written as W is equals to mg, where m is mass and g is the acceleration of free fall. Now let's see some examples of non-uniform motion. Now let's see the non-uniform motion. First is that the motion with air resistance. First we must know that what is drag force or air resistance. When a solid object moves through a fluid such as air or water, it collides with the particles of fluid, causing resistance to motion. This is known as the drag force. The drag force increases directly proportional to the velocity square. So as the velocity of the particle increases, the drag force increases. So our first example is of a parachutist. The parachutist, when initially falls, he falls with normal acceleration, which is the acceleration of free fall. In this case, the weight is much greater than the drag force. As time passes by, in stage 2, the drag force component becomes considerable. So weight is greater than drag force, but the drag force also increases. So we can see that the acceleration value is decreasing. In the third component, in the third stage, the weight is equal to the drag force, and over here the acceleration is 0, which means that the terminal velocity have attained and the weight is equal to the drag force. Now comes the fourth stage. In the fourth stage, at this stage the parachute opens. There is a rapid deceleration. And as a result the weight becomes much less than the drag force. A bit later, the component of the drag force decreases as time passes by, and we can see over here now that the deceleration value have decreased. And in the sixth stage, the weight have equals to the drag force, and again the terminal velocity have attained. We have attained terminal velocity 2 times, right before the parachute opens and after the parachute have opened, and we have attained a stable state. This is our first example of non-uniform motion, which is of a parachutist fall. The second example is of a raindrop fall. That's a quite simple example. When a raindrop falls, initially it falls with the acceleration of free fall, and after that the drag force on the raindrop equals the weight of the raindrop. And over here the drag force is very small and the weight is large, so it is falling with normal acceleration. So this was the example for the non-uniform motion. Now we would proceed to section 4.3, which is linear momentum and its conservation. The first topic for linear momentum and its conservation section is the definition of momentum. The momentum is defined as the product of mass and velocity. Momentum is denoted by small p. P is equals to m into v, mass into velocity. Could also be written as change in momentum equals mass into change in velocity. The SI units are Newton seconds or kg meters per second. Now let's see Newton's law in terms of momentum. Newton's first law: if the force component is 0, if force is 0, then change in momentum is 0. According to the Newton's second law, F is equals to ma, acceleration is v minus u over t, where v is the final velocity, u is the initial velocity, and t is the time. This becomes mv minus mu divided by t, and mv minus mu is change in momentum. So m change in momentum over t is m into v, m into change in velocity. So this becomes the change in momentum. So this becomes F equals change in momentum divided by change in t, which is directly proportional. So from over here we can define force. Force is defined as the rate of change of momentum, and from here we can also define 1 Newton, which is the unit of force. We must define Newton, 1 Newton from F equals to ma. So we must say that resultant force required to accelerate 1 kg of object by 1 meter per second square. So from over here we can make a change in p the subject, which is the change in momentum, which will become F force into change in time, and change in p, the change in momentum, is also called the impulse. And impulse, which is change in p, is defined as force multiplied by time. From over here we can also extract another important thing, that force is dp by dt, so rate of change of momentum. So the gradient of momentum time graph would give us the force, and impulse is F into t. So this the area under the force time graph would give us the impulse. So from Newton's third law, Fa equals negative F of b. Force is rate of change of momentum, so rate of change of momentum of A is equals to negative change of momentum of b. T cancels out because the impact time is same, so rate of change of momentum of A is equals change in momentum of A is equals to change in momentum of b, but with a negative sign, which is an indication of the third law. So over here we can say that the change in momentum of A is equal but opposite to the change in momentum of b. Now we come to the statement of law of conservation of momentum, which says that for a closed system, the total momentum of the system before and after collision remains the same. So which means that the sigma of the initial momentum equals to the sigma of the final momentum. So over here, the closed or isolated system means that the system that is not acted upon by external forces. So this is an explanation of head-on collision, one-dimensional, and over here we are taking the right-hand side, the movement to right-hand side is positive and movement to left-hand side is negative. Before collision, this was the situation. This is m1, u1, m2 is the mass, u2 is the velocity, and after collision this is the situation. So what we can do is we can simply find the momentum m1 into u1, and this is in the left hand side, so we can write negative m2 u2, and this after collision would be negative m1 v1, right left hand side, so negative, and this would be plus m2 v2. So what we can do is, as we have learned in the conservation of momentum, the momentum before and after must be equal. So before momentum is equals to the momentum which is after. Let's take another example. Before collision, this was 5 kgs, 13 kgs, velocities are 10 and 4, and after collision, this is velocity is unknown, 5 kg, and this 13 kg velocity is 6. So we have to find velocity after collision of this 5 kg particle. So initial momentum equals final momentum, 5 into 10 plus 13 into 4 equals 5 into v plus 13 into 6. So finding v, which is 4.8 meters per second. So this becomes 4.8. Now let's analyze the momentum time graph for each particle. So we have over here the momentum time graph. We have labeled this as A and this as B, this as A and this as B. Initially A had momentum 5 into 10, 50, and after collision A had momentum 4.8 into 5, which is 24. So it decreased and came to 24. So the change in momentum was negative 26. As momentum is a vector quantity, so we will consider the negative sign. So there is a decrease. So let's consider B. B had 13 into 4, which is 52 before collision, and after collision B had momentum 13 into 6, which is 78. So 78 minus 52 is also 26. So this is the momentum time graph for this situation, and this duration in time is the impact time during which the impact occurred. So another thing you can notice is that 50 plus 52 is 102, and 78 plus 24 is also 102. So the momentum before equals momentum after. And the force time graph for this thing would be something like this, as this is a constant, so this would be 0 because force is rate of change of momentum, so this would become 0. And for the green part, for B, there was an increase, so there would be a positive force, which would be change in P by change in P is 26, so 26 divided by time, so this would be 26 by T, and over here the blue one, it would be negative change in P by T, which is negative 26 by T. Negative 26 is the change. Thanks for watching the video, and do like and subscribe my channel for more videos. I will be making a second part for this chapter in the next video. Thank you.